every single U-turn that Keir Starmer has done since being leader.
We are on the side of economic growth. Will you just let me please get on with this? Thank you very much.
Stop making U-turns here.
We have already... will you just let me finish this and I'll come and talk to you about it? Thank you very much.
He'll say anything to get into power. I didn't even finish the list. I only got halfway through the list. Now, I promised this channel, I promised you guys that I would make a counter video to all the Conservative scandals with my very own Labour scandals. It's not as if Keir Starmer has had time in government to make all of these scandals, but nonetheless, he has made many U-turns and we are going to list them in this video. This is going to be all of Keir Starmer's U-turns in one place, and as of February the 8th, there are 27 of them. All Keir Starmer's Labour U-turns in one place. So do you remember this? Bye Angela, hi Angela. In a botched reshuffle following disappointing local election results and a major by-election defeat in Hartlepool all the way back in 2021, Starmer attempted to clip the wings of his deputy leader Angela Rayner, seen as being the left of the party. Rayner, whose role is elected by members and therefore untouchable, was sacked from her party. But following a backlash from Labour left and other senior figures, Rayner actually ended up with several senior roles and a near farcical list of job titles. Nationalise nothing? Maybe the trains. When he ran for Labour leadership, Starmer pledged to bring public services, name-checking rail, mail, energy and water into the common ownership. But as early as September 2021, Starmer ruled out nationalising the big six energy companies. Then, in July 2022, his shadow chancellor, Rachel Reeves, said Labour ditched its commitments to nationalise more public services, pointing to her shadow Treasury team's strict fiscal rules. Seen as crucial in convincing the public Labour can be trusted on the economy. After the farcical Liz Truss, I think anyone could be trusted with the economy much better than she could have. Outsourcing is back in. One of Starmer's other leadership pledges concerned stopping the creeping involvement of the private sector in the UK's publicly funded National Health Service. Starmer said he would end outsourcing in the NHS as he ran for leader. But in an interview in the summer of 2022, he said his party will likely have to continue with some level of private provision in the health service if he takes office. His health spokesperson, Wes Streeting, has offered to hold the door wide open for the private sector. Stand with trade unions, but not like that. As public sector strike hits Britain in the summer of 2022, Starmer ordered his shadow ministers not to appear alongside workers on picket lines, which is ironic, because Labour was basically born from unionism. But hey-ho. The Labour leader even sacked Sam Tarry, a left-wing MP, and his shadow rail minister for appearing with striking rail workers despite the order. Starmer's team said Tarry was sacked for making up party policy in a TV interview. Unfree movement. Starmer pushed for a second referendum on Brexit before the 2019 election. When he ran for the top Labour job, he didn't renew that pledge, but did vow to defend free movement as we leave the EU. As a leader, he sought to shed the perception that he is an EU flag-waving liberal. No universal credit. No universal credit. Starmer initially promised to abolish universal credit, the overarching and famously complex system for Brits who claim social security payments. As of 2023, Labour policy was to instead to fundamentally reform the system. Starmer's shadow work and pensions secretary, John Ashworth, he's a guy who was caught in that hot mic moment with Jeremy Corbyn, where he basically called him useless. Friendship ended with Jeremy, and now the Labour right is my best friend. Back in the 2020 leadership contest, Starmer ran as a bit of a lefty, suggesting he would continue the work of an ex-leader, Jeremy Corbyn. He even described him as a friend. However, as well as eventually barring Corbyn from standing as a Labour candidate over his views on anti-Semitism in the party, Starmer even U-turned on the tenor of their friendship, denying that he and Corbyn had ever been friends. Tuition fees! One of the key planks of Corbyn's platform as leader was his pledge to abolish university tuition fees. Starmer inherited and reiterated this pledge when he ran for leader. But he dropped the policy in May last year, admitting he is likely to move on from that commitment and blaming Britain's very dire economic situation. Not so universal. In an interview with the Sunday Times at the start of last year, Labour's Shadow Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson announced Starmer's ambitious childcare plans, pledging that the party would guarantee childcare from the end of parental leave until the end of primary school, NHS style. Fast forward, check notes, less than 6 months, and The Guardian reported that the shadow ministers were exploring other options. Basically, we've said it, but it turns out we haven't got the money to fund that kind of pledge. Hey, top earners! Hey, 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 hey! The first 9 words of, you guessed it, Starmer's list of 2020 leadership pledges couldn't have been clearer. Increase income tax for the top 5% of earners. 3 years down the line, and Starmer was still being clear, but in the opposite direction. And asked directly by the Telegraph last summer if he would raise income tax for top earners, he said his principle was to lower taxes, and that he isn't looking to the lever of taxation. Rest easy, my lords. Starmer pledged in his leadership campaign, where he said a lot of things, as you may have noticed, to abolish the UK's unelected second chamber, the House of Lords. He has repeatedly affirmed this pledge, including as recently as November 2022. Some wondered about this commitment when Starmer's spokesman in June last year indicated the Labour leader may, in fact, appoint new peers to the chamber. They were right to wonder, as the Labour's shadow leader of the House, Fangam Debonair, confirmed last year that the plans to abolish the House of Lords are likely to take a back seat, as constitutional change takes time and drains energy. Taking on the big tech, but not. Reeves announced a digital services tax plan in 2021. It would have seen Labour increase a 2% levy charged on the revenue of tech firms operating in the UK, like Amazon, Facebook, to 10%. In response to a June 2023 Times story, Labour spokesman confirmed the party had now no plans to raise the digital services tax. No rent control. Britain's sky high housing costs are only climbing further. So a hint that rents could be capped by Labour government certainly excited campaigners. Ooh. Turns out it might be. Speaking 9 months later, Lisa Nandy ruled out the policy which she described as a sticking plaster that would only increase homelessness. Nandy isn't the housing minister anymore, but ruling out rent control remains party policy. You l'avez? Take it or leave it. Amid a stink over the clean air policies of London's Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan, Starmer in December 2022 backed Khan's plan to expand his ultra-low emission zone into Greater London, but as a by-election loomed in Uxbridge last year, where the change keeps coming up on the doorstep, Starmer changed position and backed his candidate Danny Beales, who said he was right to raise concerns and call for a delay to the scheme. So Kier Starmer is a flippant man. He is a flippant man. The guy will change anything he has said in the past to suit the future of his own premiership. The guy's a snake. He's always been a snake. He's not a politician. He's worse than a politician. He's only a politician when it suits him. He just wants power. He just wants to be Prime Minister. He just wants a legacy of being Prime Minister. That's all he wants. He's power hungry. That's why Owen Jones was so correct in leaving the Labour Party. The Conservatives may have had their scandals. They are all the same. Except Labour is particularly dangerous under Keir Starmer because he'll say anything. He'll say anything to get into power. I didn't even finish the list. I only got halfway through the list because there's too much to cover. I may have to do a part 2 if I carry on. But there is too much. Keir is a snake. He was a snake of what he did to Jeremy Corbyn. I don't believe in any kind of party gerrymandering where they just get rid of their own party candidates whenever they feel like it for dodgy reasons. I truly believe in that the electorate should decide when and how an MP should go. I truly believe it. Okay, leave it to the electorate to deselect their own MPs. Yeah, they voted for Jeremy Corbyn under a Labour flag. Do you really think they'll vote for Jeremy Corbyn again? No, because people don't vote for individuals very often. They vote for the party and the executive, which in this case is Keir Starmer. And though he may look to be leader in the 2024/25 election, he's still crap. I'm not going to vote for him. Vote for the looting, raving Munster Party or whatever that bloody party's called. But Keir Starmer cannot be trusted. He could never be trusted. And I'm sorry to say, but this guy will be our next Prime Minister. But anyway, I've been Jake from Just Jake. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you help me out of such a simple burden? and like the video, share the video, do whatever you need to do. But anyway, I will see you next time. And remember, make love, not war, because Keir Starmer will probably go back on his word.